Boo, boppity boo boo bop bam, bam bam. Welcome everybody. My name is Kevin Man of Spinnings, also known as Crack Palantir, and this is Karandrin role playing with episode 68 of Brise's Tale. As always, my good buddy Max is here to play the beautiful female paladin Brise in episode 68. Max, say hello to the lovely people.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're having a spectacular post-Halloween evening.
Yes. Hope your Halloweenies went well. Trunk or treats, etc. Last time, episode 67, you were doing a bit of exploring, Max.
That I was.
Why don't you
Just
tell
a
the
smidge.
folks about that? Catch them up
yeah.
a little bit.
Well, we were found ourselves in this not ornate, a very simple room of some tower or house we weren't sure about, and walked through the door and kind of started exploring these tower from the inside out, right? Started at the top or close to the top, and we're making our way downstairs. Came across a lot of strange phenomena. Definitely the place looks like it's been raided, and some parts clearly sacked and kind of destroyed, including a very rare, possibly evil artifact that I came across. Very, very kind of eerie place. Definitely like well defended, well fortified. Trying to a lot of like traps and ways to basically get the upper hand on any intruders we came across. So eventually making our way to the roof, found ourselves on top of the tower and confirmed it is one of the 4 wells, which is what I was seeking a couple episodes ago. These 4 enormous towers built from these large stones, so that from a distance they almost look like just well masonry, well works. We ended the last episode getting to the bottom of the tower I was on, and we can start doing some exploring of the other towers. Of course, there were skeletons on rowboats and blood. Yes, and forget.
Yes, it's you don't want to forget that. It's a little unnerving. There is the possibility that the 3 towers across the way from the one that Brise has largely explored, about halfway, that those 3 may each be filled with blood.
Yes.
At least a red substance, and when he sent her trusty falcon familiar, Nalani, over the towers, the 3 other towers, discovered skeletal warriors ceaselessly rowing a rowboat across the top of this liquid, round and round. They paid no attention to Nalani.
They're also outfitted in with symbols of Lewin.
Right.
Paladins that have been resurrected, probably against their will.
Right. Lewin is one of the regional gods of the regional pantheon. She's the goddess of hearth, home, and children. Always depicted as a very compassionate character, usually depicted as an elf, but this pantheon is a multiracial pantheon that largely believes, of course, the gods can take any form, and they will take the form that best communicates to whoever they're interacting with. So if you go to a goblin temple, you won't be surprised to see a goblin version of Lewin dressed in her symbols, holding her sort of traditional.
I've never met a kind goblin in my life.
That's right. So a lot of curiousness going on here. We also know that there's a large sort of ogre-like creature um,
Right.
in the in play, exploring the bottom of the tower, which is
Right.
why um, Brise decided to just skip that part.
Yeah, a
Uh,
Dunger.
yeah,
Very good sense of smell and extremely dangerous. So thought I'd just maybe let that mind its own business for a while.
yeah. We will just skip by that as long as we can. So, but that is to say, you do need to keep in mind that he or she it's around, and therefore that any other like noise you make, including battle, can
Right.
result in it coming out.
Right.
Can draw its attention. So, um, so
And
um,
on that note, speaking of noise, I think there was a pretty strong breeze coming through here, right, in the
right,
mountains.
yeah, it's windy on this side of the mountain. That will help for a lot of things. Obviously, we've learned that high pitched noises tend to travel more. There's a clanking and things like that, right? Because we heard the chains, these chains that descend into the red liquid from the rowboats of the skeletons, and
Yeah.
as they rotate around, as the rowboats make their paths round and round, they do tend to clink, and that can be heard faintly. So there are noises that will pierce through
Right.
the wind.
Although to be fair, I couldn't hear that, but Nalkarth could.
Right.
And,
So we'll just see. We'll just
right.
see. I mean, certainly the more cautious course is the
Mhm.
wiser one. Um,
It's funny. Also, we can do this right now. I probably would have asked Nalkarth if he's familiar with Dungars, if he's ever encountered them or slain any.
he knows nothing by that name.
Okay.
You describe it to him. He says there's a similar creature on his world. Um, um, but they're much shorter. They're about the height of your dwarves.
Hmm.
Um, they match that description, but they're a civilized folk, um, and
Interesting.
huh, they're strong allies of his people.
Hmm.
They're very honorable. They're very loyal. Um,
Okay, I'm pretty sure we're not talking about the same thing, but
exactly.
interesting to know. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Those creatures are called the Drolaff. Drolaff.
So yeah, we will first start our exploration by circling around this tower, just kind of taking note of any doors or windows, peeking inside when I can, and then we'll explore kind of more of the garden in between them. I think where we said, yeah, we said it was like a small,
It
like
was like
garden.
it's like a courtyard,
Yeah, more courtyard.
probably built
Yeah.
for vehicles and horses,
Hmm.
a gathering place for equipment, that sort of thing, distribution of goods. Clearly, there's a sense that there was at least a small detachment of guards here.
Hmm.
Um, so there are no the what windows there are start on the third floor. There's none on the fourth.
Yeah, that kind of
And
makes sense for a building
right.
like this. Yeah.
So there's only a couple here and there. And there are some loops. That's what they're called. There are some arrow loops, which are the
Oh,
crosses used
yeah.
to shoot down upon enemies. But even
Right.
then, not that many. They really don't expect an invasion here.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be out of the way, and of course, if we think that those substances in the three other towers are what we think it is, then seclusion is probably the better course for them.
Yes.
Clearly, there was something very dark going on here.
Right.
If our viewers have forgotten, then we found a mythologically powerful dark object, a desk,
Right.
that is reported in religious stories
Right.
as being just
A fabled, yeah, item. Yeah.
fabled. That's a very good description of it. So
Um, also, I'm curious. So I know I explored 3 floors. Looking at like the windows where they are, can I kind of estimate how many floors there are in this tower?
your sense is 6.
Okay.
The towers are all equal height.
All right. Well, and I guess just one door. Then I imagine that.
There's a door. Um, it's actually thrown in the grass. Apparently, relatively recently, you can tell that there are marks that newer wood has been exposed, but also there were there's old shattered parts that have been exposed. So apparently, it was beaten in, and I guess the Dungar, didn't find it wide enough to enter, and he just tore it
Right.
off and threw it in there. And now he's literally just sniffing them out. It's going to be funny if he, presumably he's going to go upstairs and catch your scent, right?
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
he'll go in loops,
Right.
because there is no scent really. I mean, I guess there's scent going straight down the wall, but
That's how we kill him.
exactly. You right. This bought you some time.
It's like a cartoon, like do 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 do. Uh oh.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
So the yeah. So
kind of just peering inside, like anything interesting on the first floor. I don't want to step inside, risk of making noise, but just through the open door. What can I see?
You begin walking that way. Why don't you roll to be sneaky? Not that it's a moderate failure is not going to be a big deal.
96.
Roll again and add
it. 51.
You make it to the door very quickly and very quietly. You peer in. It's opens to a narrow chamber immediately. Roll for me.
5.
Presumably to save, to make most use of the space. The a light though appears over your shoulder, a golden green light, and you tense, and then you relax because you realize it's the arrival of the Trinitas.
Oh, okay.
So you'd rather not discuss things in this doorway.
Well, yeah.
So they greet you as Daughter of Man. I should post up a little caption for the Trinitas.
And
for any new viewers. There we go.
And I'll hold up a little, follow me.
Right.
Further away. We can go, just a ways away from the tower.
Sure. Here's the actual Trinitas description. So they, the flower people do their very graceful, the flower person does its very graceful float across the ground. The Trinitas simply remains with it and rides on its shoulder. You sort of find some cover from the tower's overhanging branches, that sort of thing, and meet in the comfortable shadows thereof. The Trinitas ask, concerned in their beautiful musical choral voices, are you in danger? Are we in danger?
No, but there's a dangerous creature inside that tower that we don't want to catch its attention. So as long as
Prudent.
we stay over here, we'll should be okay.
We bring word from our spies among the Philistines.
Yes. Do tell.
We have gleaned nothing more of the bargain that they are making with some power in the Vetch. And for those of you who forget, the Vetch is an area to the west, just a very rugged, hilly region, largely unsettled, except for just really scraped by settlements, subsistence settlements. And that was the ancient home of the Philistine. They were slaughtered and now live as basically an undead nation of several.
As if the Vetch wasn't bad enough.
Yeah, it's tough going in the Vetch. I mean, you can, without the aid of a teleport, I mean, you really could just starve to death. They're just trying to make it. So they say, we don't know what deal is made, but we have learned two names, and we are hoping that they are familiar to you. The first name, and I'm going to send it to you in private chat so you can get the spelling, is Riadon. Do you know of any entity named Riadon?
Max does not, and Brise, I assume.
Roll for me.
89.
It does sound familiar. Roll again.
11.
Something you've heard in a pub, you think? But I mean, it really could be a name shouted over the clinking of glasses.
Yeah.
They consider that for a moment, and they say the other name that we have heard the Philistine use is Chelbrick.
Chelbrick.
Roll for that name.
Oh, 62.
Not familiar to you.
Chelbrick and Roadon.
Riadon.
Okay. Yeah, I say I apologize, but not knowing anything, but I definitely can ask around if it seems wise to. I don't know the intent behind these names.
We will continue to listen, of course, and as we get more information, we'll let you know. Okay. Have they talked to Averdal, who, for our listeners and watchers, for our audiences, Averdal is a halfling who is retired, a halfling of considerable power and prestige, who is retired to the Vetch, to the seclusion of the Vetch. We have mentioned it to Averdal. He does not recognize the names either. But he said he came from a distant land, and so that may be the reason. That is the Averdal, came from a distant land, which would be Delphne to the from your perspective, to the northwest, toward the north coast of the big Gulf. So, how do your plans proceed, and those of your allies?
I say fairly well, and I mentioned the two kind of ongoing plans. One with Plesh, who's leading the captured one of the creatures, these creatures that can possibly break the chains on Kralum, that are binding Kralum to his prison in the volcano. And then the other is Kralum himself arranging some contacts that are supposed to reach me and might be able to free him within a matter of weeks, I believe he said. So, and I think that's the majority of it. Scrolling back up here through my notes to make sure.
Do you trust the demon's plan, or the fact that he even has one?
I do not. However, we have to consider that he seeks his escape more than any of us. So even if it is dangerous, to me, then I think it's worth at least investigating. And I'll, obviously, what's the way I word it? I won't do anything that would go beyond, my own honor or hurt others, to such an extreme.
You have your limits, regardless of what his plan is.
Exactly, yeah. Again, it's just in its infancy so far. That avenue.
Proceed with caution. I think you are wise to trust your own counsel, and your heart will guide you correctly. Still, demons are a tempting sort, and they see the weaknesses in others and can play on them beautifully. We will continue to spy and hopefully gather more information about either of these two beings and what plans they may have with the Philistine.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I mentioned that about them appearing in the keep, right, would be not preferable. So I wonder if we could arrange a time and a place for our next meeting. So I tell them that could we meet, at a similar time on the 20th, 5 days from now.
Where shall we meet? Outside the keep?
Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying is they can find me, right? So I say you can find me. I will make sure I'm in a location.
Okay, that's safe. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Thank you for the warning.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the 20th it is, 2 days. I will make my note of that too.
So it's the 16th, Kevin. Actually, I think it's still the 15th.
Oh, it's the 15th. Right, you're right.
Yeah. I heard you say the 18th or something. I was like, did I hear that right?
No, sorry, I was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still my birthday in Karandrin.
That's right.
May 15th. Man, I've had a birthday going on for 4 weeks now. It's pretty nice.
We're on 60.
So yeah, 4.5 days from now.
Right. So early afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. It's the 15th. 17. I'm checking all my other NPCs.
Yeah, just make sure. Okay, so if they take off, then I'll.
Yep, they. The children of the flower open up that portal to their strange golden green liquid realm.
Yeah.
And they and the Trinidos pass through. Pass through the portal and disappear.
We'll continue on, and I'll return to the entrance and peek through the lower on the first floor there again and see what I can see inside the tower.
Roll for me.
80.
So there are definitely signs of battle here. You can tell that there are, the normally smooth rock this is, built from these large rounded rocks. Um, the interior walls have scarring from angular, no doubt, metal objects. It's got to be battle. Um, um, and it goes straight in, and then there's a hall that curves around so it goes the hallway that leads in goes all the way to the back of the.
Okay.
So it makes it about a 60-foot hallway, and then the hall clearly goes to both sides. You stop and listen upstairs. No real sound there, but again, all the stonework is pretty thick.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. But yeah, no like entry, grand entry or anything, just a long narrow hallway.
right. So, it seems to be to maximize space on this floor. So storage, I mean, who knows?
Or even if people try to like run in here, then they have a long hall to go through, and they can put any
Right.
number.
It does. You realize, obviously it limits any numerical advantage an attacker might have.
Right.
Because you can have
Right.
50 guys behind you, but it's the two guys fighting in front that matter. And if you're two guys,
and you're tripping over their corpses too.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Okay.
It does occur to you, like, given how remote this area seems, there should be a stable somewhere, if that matters.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too. Like they must have food to get out here and some way to
Right.
travel. Yeah.
And it could be that, the rooms to either side here are going to be nothing but, larders and storage and things like that.
Right.
Certainly the whoever owned that desk was accustomed to some luxury, but as you've learned yourself, it doesn't take long. I mean, you were already accustomed to luxury just from your childhood, but you could see that any person involved in this profession, in this sort of dangerous stuff, the dangers are great, but so are the rewards.
Right.
You can mount up some luxuries pretty quickly.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll turn away from there and kind of explore this courtyard area. Is it kind of like trees or shrub?
Well, I do warn you that if the Dungar looks out any window,
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to kind of be standing to cover and just look, right, and then dash to cover and look. You need trees above you, basically, or heavy brush or whatever,
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure to be hidden. Try to stay out of view of any of those windows. Yeah.
Right. So you dash. You sort of dash to the other side of the courtyard, so you can scan the side you were on more fully.
So is it a lot of like trees, and is there like natural trees or more of like planted, for a garden? Or
there does appear to be one planted, because there seems to be beside the as you were hiding under that tree, there did seem to be sort of paving stones turned on edge to outline an area for trees.
Yeah.
And they are they're clearly apple trees. Maybe they were planted to help feed the men and so on.
Yeah.
They've stopped producing a long time ago, but so there are two big trees headed toward the valley. This is a narrow gap in the mountain. To see it from the valley, you would almost have to be not directly below, but directly across from it in some way to have that line of sight. If you're further up or down the valley, it's just too tucked in. And it's hard to believe that that's not by design. And only now, after, however many years, people have stumbled across it and given it nicknames, and now it's come to be a reference, although not really a
Tourist
landmark.
destination.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Um, so
Okay. So just we'll try to scan the perimeter of the courtyard. Make sure there's no waiting and hiding for me.
nothing there. You aren't at the base of the nearest to the valley of the true
Right.
wells, if you will, of
Right.
the reservoirs. Maybe we should call them
Mhm.
the tower reservoirs. And so, even though there is a very steep incline behind them, you know, um, maybe it's time to explore behind them and sort of clamber through that, check for
Yeah.
windows or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So you remember on Nilani's initial, survey of it, she didn't see any windows or doors, but
no, she didn't. But
looking a
the
little more
bottom
closely, yeah.
and the bottom floor she can't really see because of
Right,
all the
exactly.
overgrowth.
Right.
So things literally, it's so close to this incline that literally plants can grow and arc over and touch the
Right.
touch the tower. And in
Yeah.
places you have to sidle through between
Mhm.
the incline and the base of the tower. I mean, they really tuck them back so they couldn't be seen.
Right.
You make some noise, but you got now a tower between you and the other tower, so you're not
Right.
really worried about it. But just some of the stumbling you do and so on, it's just sort of inadvertent, and you can't help it, but you don't think it was a big deal.
Mm.
You also think to look into the rock face to see, hey,
Oh,
well,
sure, yeah.
is there a mine here? Did they draw resources from a mine to build these things? Um, and there's no real evidence of that. Um, you do find the husk of some unknown life form behind the third tower. Um, insectoid. It seemed to crawl upon the ground, not stand as a man would, or woman, or they. And it had massive pincers in the front. There's an iridescent quality to some sections of the husk. It's not like anything you've ever seen.
Yeah. Does it seem like it kind of like naturally is here, or is there any injury, maybe something that hurt it?
The husk isn't in perfect shape, so there are gaps and tears in it. But whether that's from injury, from being left exposed to being pierced by branches and so on, it's difficult to tell.
Weird.
Do you want to stop and sketch it? You do have a moment of privacy.
Yeah, good idea.
I know that your creature interest.
I've been trying to remember that. I might have forgotten a few times. Let's pull out my journal here and do a little sketch and make some notes about it in case I ever come across another one. It'd be good to compare.
Your guess is it would be about 9 feet long, laid upon the ground. It doesn't have like a barb at the end of it. Instead, what it has is some sort of swinging tail with a bulb on the end of it. So whether that was meant, be used to strike blows, or not being able to tell how its actual structure and what it's made of,
Yeah.
it's difficult to tell what it's for. Maybe it was for just dropping scent. You know. Um,
This reminds you. It's funny when you said came across a husk of an insectoid creature. I immediately thought of like skeleton. I'm like, wait, it's X-Stone of skeletons. Maybe you've seen all like the Halloween decorations where there'll be
yeah,
like a crab, like a skeleton crab or a skeleton fly, and they don't have skeletons.
they have exoskeletons, and
It
that's
just makes it like adds on to the absurdity of like Halloween decorations.
yeah, that's pretty funny though. I kind of
Yeah.
like that. We should get a crab one since
Yeah.
Karen likes crabs so much. That would be fun.
There's a shark one too, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure sharks don't have any bones. If
All right,
any,
so
they don't have that many.
exactly. I don't have
They're
that.
cages. Oh my gosh.
That's really good.
All right.
Um,
Finding insectoid husk. Fort Wells.
so, I should say that there are no doors and windows on these lower levels that Nalani cannot scan.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you want Nalani, perched on I don't know if you want him perched on a tower, perched on a tree, watching the courtyard.
Oh yeah, good idea. Yeah. Kind of forgot she was there, but yeah, no, let's have her keeping watch, and I'll switch to her vision every once in a while.
Sure.
She can look at the tower too, see if the Dungar is catch the sight of it.
Right. There is a moment where you see the Dungar pass. And that would have to be through one of the windows. I keep losing my little sketches of these areas. So, wait, where's the other one? Hello, where's my other sketch? What have I done with it? Over there, no. Oh,
my dog, a Dungar, ate my homework.
That's right, a Dungar ate my
and
homework.
Me.
So appear to be still on the third floor.
Okay.
There is a window there. So,
because I know I've heard of them. I know quite a bit about them. Right? Does that one look younger, older? Could I tell if it is any more information about it now that I've seen a glimpse of it?
Based on the height of its passing, like what Nalani could see as it passed the window, it is a very large one.
Ooh, okay.
It is a very large one. I mean, ogres get 8 to 12 feet, and this thing is pretty well 12 feet. I mean, its shoulder is passing the window. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The ceilings in the tower are about 12 feet, and it's really big. I mean, you're going to come up to its belly, basically, should you fight it.
Or greet it.
Or greet it, though historically that is not proven effective.
People just weren't nice enough.
That's right.
Well, yeah, so see the Dungar Pass, and I don't know if there's too much else I could explore. I could do another perimeter of the area just to see if there's anything on the outskirts. But
sure.
I don't want to risk another Verilac situation where I get to the top of this tower and then it turns out it's some seal or device that I've now busted by coming across.
You can also sneak your way to the edge of the valley and just look at the valley down below.
True, yeah.
But also there's, you may find the stables further down.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be terribly surprising if they're a couple of 100 feet away just to keep the odor at bay.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't think the horse's odor is particularly bad. I've always enjoyed it. It's kind of sweet.
Compared to the smell of blood, that
That's right. It's just, why are there no ants here? That's what I want to know. Oh, maybe that thing was a giant ant. Oh my gosh.
that's all it is.
So if you wish, you can go deeper into the notch up the mountain a little bit, or you can go to the valley side.
Well, I was able to look over the valley from the first tower. I was up
Yes,
there,
this would give you more of a view further to the south.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. I'll explore the other side of the notch between the.
okay, you'll go sort of more into the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So comes deeply wooded pretty quickly, rougher, but then you find a level spot, and you find here um, moderate set of stables, probably 8 horses, uh, 8 horse capacity. Trees have grown through it. Trees are growing on the roof from the detritus that is gathered. You listen. You find evidence of this is they had this area sort of coarsely cobbled to keep vegetation down, and now that's sort of long, not been maintained. It's long gone.
Mm-hmm.
Does suggest then that there's probably a path leading up here if that's of any interest, but that'll of course be presumably would be down headed toward the valley.
Yeah, you'd think.
Um,
Unless do I know of like any other settlement maybe on the other? So which way am I facing now? Right, I went north from Balabry. And then
yes, and then you headed east.
Yeah, so I guess
Now, and
east.
you were told that valley is uninhabited. The valley that you can observe now is uninhabited,
Right.
which is as true as they know it to be. Which means
Right.
there could be a 20-person settlement now that doesn't trade with anybody,
Right.
or they trade and they don't talk about where they're from. And they just go back through game paths to their to their settlement or whatever, and stay there. Certainly in the temple
Whatever
records,
they do.
yeah. Well, I mean, certainly in temple records, from your own studies, that there's, there's been religious offshoots that start settlements like that to get away from the eye of the temples and the eye of the priests. And so that sort of thing happens. Refugees, there's a number of reasons there could be these small unknown settlements. So that's what tell me. I thought it gave me a I don't want to try it, but apparently I can take thumbnails while we're streaming.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Smile for the picture.
I know, right? We both we both point at Karandrin, at Brise. Brise is right there. That would be funny. Oh, we could do it off stream too. Then we could play around with all kind of ridiculous stuff. That would be
true.
funny.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'll just circle around the stables, see if I find anything else interesting. Creeping along. Stables.
Just very heavily wooded.
Don't need to worry about them collapsing on me because they're stable.
And supported by trees and supporting trees.
Supporting trees.
You listen as you approach the building. You peek into holes and into the gaps between boards and things, and what movement there is can be assigned to rats and snakes. Oh, this high up a mountain, maybe not. Maybe it's too cold for the snakes. Um,
Dangerous Karandrin snakes that do 50 hit point worth of damage.
that's right. Um, you do find another husk. And next to that husk, you find about a 4-foot wide burrow going into the solid rock face.
Oh.
It is long overgrown. You almost missed it just thinking it was just a natural, depression in the rock that just was deeply shadowed. But no, it's big enough for you to crawl through, but not much else, right? I mean, but as you open it, just the sound of wind and so on as it makes it to you, you're just like, that really goes for a while.
Wow. So 4 foot wide, you said? So I couldn't stand in it, but I could crawl through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything of note about this husk that's kind of different from the other?
Larger.
Okay.
Almost 11 feet, you think. I mean, these things get really big, but they get longer, not broader. It's clearer to see that they have 2 sets of very long wings, one affixed at the shoulders at the front and one fixed behind the final pair of legs of their 3 pairs. And those are broad, but they look very powerful as well. It's also easier to see the ferocity of the claws. And you wonder if they use the claws for digging or if they use their pincers for digging. It's in fact, looking at the walls of the burrow, you can see grooves, circular grooves spiraling around, and they seem to match outer edges, the outer ridge of the pincers. So they must burrow by some sort of twisting mechanism that works its way through the rock.
Wow. I'll add that to my little notebook too. They're avid diggers through stone. I wonder if they would dig to make a burrow for safety, or they find food in there.
Right.
Okay. I'm definitely not going to go in there, but yeah, if there's nothing else, so I think I've explored kind of most of the area, right? So we got the stables kind of in the back here. There's nothing past them, I don't think. But it's kind of
roll for me.
90.
So where did that path that you were originally on, where does it lead?
Right. Yeah. I was thinking about that. We kind of took a shortcut here, walking through across that invisible walkway, but there's a road up here too.
Right, and it may just be a switchback that's covered over from here, and just the escarpment was so inhospitable to growth,
right,
that it left it exposed, but the rest of it is just so overgrown. What would you like to do?
So I think we've kind of finished exploring this area. I don't want to interact with those towers just yet. I think I'm going to go back to Balabry and do a little more research before I
Well, they did
Um,
what they saw. I mean, it's now mid-afternoon. You probably don't have more than a couple of hours of light. Not that you can't
yeah,
go back to Ballerby, obviously quickly. But what they did see was at night you could camp some distance from here,
yes.
and
That's what I was going to suggest. Yeah, wait until night. They observed kind of a report of a separate phenomena, or maybe related, of ghostly lights coming from this place.
right,
So I'm gonna we'll maybe find a good spot. So yeah, I want to watch out for that Dungar. I mean, the stables, if they aren't, uh, could be a good place, good shelter. Um, unless they're, like you said, filled with rats and snakes. Whatever seems better. Using an existing shelter or camping out, maybe just behind the stables too, out of view of the tower.
right. Yeah, you don't think there's so much vegetation inside the stables. There's just not. I mean, rats and snakes
Yeah.
aside. So there is the thought of going. Excuse me. And camping on top of the roof would be way too exposed. You would be
Yeah.
cold all night. I mean, you could almost camp on top of the hatch, right? And then you would be awoken if anything came. But
Oh, like on the rooftop.
yeah, but I think again, you'd just be cold as hell up there.
Yeah.
So I think maybe going down the valley and see if you can find a place. Um,
Yeah, okay. We can go down the valley side and maybe find like a flat, relatively flat area, not too
right.
far from the
It would be nice to just, I mean,
towers.
trap his ass in there, right? Um,
Yeah, put like a
Holy
holy
lock.
lock or something on the
Yeah, find the
door.
first workable door and then holy lock it, and then
Right.
um, you know, um,
I wish there was a door of light spell. There's a bridge of light, but I just want to just make a door and then holy lock it.
so I should have manufactured a door. How hard is that? Um,
Would be
yeah, I'm
interesting.
trying to think what the safest thing is for you to do, because if they, and we know from just that one time with the ogres. Do you remember you had pod camp? What was it called? Conceal camp.
Yes, conceal camp.
But apparently, it does not work on smell, and you really need something that works on smell.
Ooh, that's true. I didn't think about
So roll for me.
that. Okay. 42.
You don't know anything about anything that would be particularly fragrant that might hide your scent.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I could just best I could probably do is find out which way the wind is blowing and hope that doesn't change, right? And then
right,
maybe just camp on a way that angles me away from that. If it's blowing toward the tower.
right. I
So
mean, I guess you could find any location you could see that's pretty inaccessible. You could teleport to and camp there,
that too, yeah,
and then he would really have to really work to find you,
right,
assuming he even could smell you, right? I mean,
right. And the Centro would disappear, right? It would just
right.
wouldn't have anywhere to hide.
Um,
Yeah, let's try that then. If we can find a spot, maybe still in view of the towers, but definitely hard to reach.
you feel like, I mean, here it's just so overgrown you can't see up very much. You're gonna have
Yeah,
to go out to the courtyard, to one of the edges of the courtyard, and to get any sort of view of higher elevations or even lower elevations for that matter.
yeah.
Um, no sign of the Dunger. If he's reached the remaining floors that have windows, we've not seen him.
Hmm.
Nalani has not seen him. So you creep out and just sort of get behind a tree, and look up on the slopes above the single tower. It's all very inhospitable there. cross over to the single tower to look above the 3 wells of the 4. No, almost straight up, and no sign of a patch that you could call home.
Man.
So that leaves working your way to the valley and looking downslope.
Yeah, we'll do that then.
Yes, there are several streams and rocky areas that have prevented trees from growing, but not grass. And you don't have to. Well, you do need to. Well, of course, if you're looking for lights, yeah, there's one that'll work. You think for seeing any lights in the area?
And I mean, yeah, honestly, I could just camp out, wait until nightfall, and then go back up there and hang out for a little while.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna have some means of. I mean, you usually stay up a couple hours after dark anyway, at least in the mountains.
Right.
And so yeah, you might just bundle up and hide away somewhere. The question is, how are you going to keep him off your scent? Is the thing. If you're going to do it nearby, or are you thinking about being further away?
Well, so and here's, I don't know if maybe Max isn't worried about this as much, but again, it's really windy, right? So I don't know if my scent would really linger. I'm under the impression that if maybe I'm not being careful enough, right?
I think you're forgetting about the scent of your footsteps. The scent, yeah, the scent you leave on the ground.
Okay, interesting. Which is kind of like it would try to follow.
Right. Now, if it never catches, it has to know to look for that, right?
Right.
And so that's the saving grace you have there. But that was my thought was that it can follow your foot trail by scent, presumably if it has an excellent, just like a bloodhound would.
Yeah. Okay.
Hunting dogs and so on. And so it's following the trail on the ground. Now, still, wind is going to be a big saving grace there.
Right. Yeah, I thought I was like, yeah, does Brise have a lot of BO? Like, you're trying to tell me something?
I didn't want to.
I was that scent.
This is my bit of trivia to share with the audience. That if you have a dog, right, you'll notice that the dog will always be waiting for you when you get home, right? And it's been waiting there not because it heard the car or anything. It's been waiting there probably for an hour or so, because dogs' sense of smell are it's so sensitive that they gauge time by decay of scent. So let's say your loved one, let's say you're a stay-at-home person, they're working from home or raising children, which is work, and your loved one showers and works off from home, right? Mm-hmm. So you will smell them in the air, obviously, their collection of scents that is all of their products, and then off they go, and within 5 minutes you can't smell them anymore. Well, your dog still can.
Right.
And can detect the decay of that smell. And once they get used to your schedule, they'll go, okay, when his scent level drops here, that's when he usually comes home. And so they will know they'll know to go to the door. So I just think that's crazy cool.
It's really fascinating. Yeah, and like there really is no human equivalent. We just use our intelligence, like a measure of time, or we use clocks. We
do it I think we do it for the readiness of food, right? Oh, they smell ready. What we're baking smells ready.
Oh, true. Yeah,
that's one thing. That's a different timer, right? Yeah. The fact and strength of smell there, but that is, I guess, it is exactly the same. It just works it works. It's not count down; it's a count up. But otherwise, it's exactly the same. We just don't have nearly the ability of it.
I remember the first time reading a recipe, and it's like, add the garlic and stir until it's fragrant. And I'm like, it's already fragrant. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
But yeah, you're just right. There's just, you kind of just know. It's like, oh yeah.
Right.
Dogs probably are better at that than we.
Yeah.
And this creature's probably amazing at as a PhD in tracking
Right.
me. So okay, so going back, right? I could teleport, camp someone down the valley, and then the concern, like you said, is kind of remaining hidden and keeping. They
Yeah, I
can
mean, you
stay
can.
around. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you just need to, be comfortable and just decide at a point to go teleport back. And so you
Right.
need to study an area. We're dealing with powerful stuff. We know that powerful stuff does not like intruders using teleport. And so
Mm,
you might need to make your way down the valley
mm,
before this Dunger gets out, and then memorize a spot and
mm.
then teleport visually before you lose the light. And then
Right.
just not exactly set up camp, but I guess set up weight. you know,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
lay out your bedroll so you have something comfortable to sit on and lean up against a log. And
Right. Right. And
um,
just while the time away.
right,
Okay. It sounds like a plan.
so you definitely found a place to teleport to. Now to find a place that you feel safe enough distance that it would not be guarded by whatever enchantments would prevent
Right.
intrusion by teleport.
There's our pen. Speaking of intrusion.
Oh no, our pen. Oh man, that guy. Welcome, Arpen. Thanks for joining us. Just to warn you, it's going to be a slightly shorter broadcast
Yeah,
today.
Brees's time is running out here.
That's right.
Terminal illness
Yeah, that's right. But I
that
am.
that I'm not aware of yet.
That's right. I am. That's right. I am. Yeah, I'm just feeling wonky. So we're gonna nip it a little early, and then. But we'll definitely be back next week, and so and then we'll post updates as we know them for our stream after the 10th. So
Right.
just keep an eye on the website, and we'll let you know, and I'll make an announcement as well. Um, so um, so you work your way down. How far you want to go?
If I really want, I could do detect magic and get a feel for that. Although I remember we mentioned the detect. I don't know if detect magic would tell me the boundary of such enchantments. Okay. I'm just gonna. We'll just go and then I'll walk another minute. And then
It's hard
trust
to
me.
say, Kevin. The
Yeah.
going is decent here. It's steep, but you sort of continually find a way down.
Okay.
Wow. Whoa. You check in with Nalani. You absolutely see um, the arch that you would have passed through
Ooh. Okay.
on the trail. So it's further down the ridge.
Mm.
Can't really see the trail from here. Um, she also sees figures near a stream on the far side of the valley. They're at a clearing. This would be on the far side to the south. Quadruped, horse-like in terms of thickness of form,
Mm.
but clearly not horses. Clearly an unnatural pair of creatures. They seem to be drinking from the stream. You do not recognize them.
Mm. Okay. Oh, I think they're far away.
and they appear to be um, light blue in color, and it's hard to tell if they're furred, if they're whatever it is.
Right.
It's not very bushy, so it's either a very close fur or it's just skin. It's just their hide, but they're quite a ways away. Yeah, this going is so easy. You have to believe this is something that's been
one would
it's
think.
been done. I mean, I'm rolling so high. It's got to be the remnants of what was used to service the four wells. Um, so
Okay. Yeah. So I think I've gone far enough. Like I said, just a little extra, and then I'll teleport to a good camping spot. Well, we'll memorize the spot here first. Yeah.
all right, roll.
58.
Roll again.
60.
All right. You're confident you can get back without having to see the spot.
Right.
And you can definitely still see your location, the sort of rocky area with large patches of grass. And so roll to teleport, you poor unlucky sod. I assume you're using your adder for this PowerPoint?
Yeah, I've got one more
charge
left. Yeah. Charge, yeah. 37.
Not great. 15 exhaustion. Roll to aim.
Okay. 8. Well, here we go.
You're on the far side of it, but it's hard to mess those up when you can see the object.
Yeah.
You let your eyes wander and you're a little further up than you wanted to be. You quickly look around. Good Lord, what is going on today?
Da, 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 da. What crazy creature is going to eat me today?
So, at some point in the past, someone took 2 well-appointed carriages and jammed them together at the edge of this clearing.
Okay.
And they basically made a 2-room house. It's long abandoned.
Well, here's my here's my shelter for the night.
It's overgrown. But I mean, yeah, you could probably sit in here till dark. There's evidence of a fire ring, of stones and things. And there's plants growing in in what used to be ash, no doubt. So it's been, some years since someone used this, but the thing is, they're well appointed, and so it makes you wonder that some well-to-do got lost.
Yeah.
And these were their last days.
Maybe. Yeah. Let's do a little bit of exploration, just make sure nothing's inside.
Yeah, sure.
You want anything valuable to be left inside the carriages?
Oh, it's the Dunger's home. That's where he's been living. He's looking for better digs.
And he invites me in for tea.
That's right. So yeah, it seems fine. You get to brush a lot of leaves off and things like that, and they had taken some rough-hewn boards and made a made a bunk in them, and so it was apparently 4 people living here, um, and they sort of fashioned 2 bunks in each of the carriages. Um, and so, you can kind of work their stuff around where you just got a seat and stay out of the wind.
Right.
And, when night falls, you'll probably just shift outside and keep an eye on the towers and decide when to go, if you're going to wait for a visual sign, if you're just going to go up there. Probably let Nalani do a sweep around the area.
Mm-hmm.
You thought there would be a stream nearby, and you were correct. Downslope, there is a stream. Nothing untoward there. There is an old bridge in sight downstream in good repair. So
kind of like a pedestrian bridge, or wide enough like for a carriage,
wide enough for a cart. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a road out here for no reason, stuff like that.
So you just sit up, and it is a beautiful area, and you certainly love the outdoors. So
yeah, definitely, I'll just take the time to relax, eat a meal, and
yeah. So race away, and then night falls.
Do we get any rest for exhaustion and
you do. That's right. You did eat as well.
That's 63 out of 100 right now.
63 out of 100. So you're back up to 86.
Okay. Boom. I have a question. I don't want to bog us down with any technical stuff, but I've used up all my adders slots. However, I have another adder on me. Can I don't think it's possible to deattune from this one and attune to the other one. Right?
No. But presumably, magically, just inevitably, there has to be some way that these things recharge.
Right.
When does that occur? Because they're always good for you in the morning. So when does it occur? Right. And that's a question that you sort of never watched and waited. Watch that kettle boil. So
the Kevin Ferry to come in and just.
That's it. I sneak in, teabag you, and then repower all your magic items. And our pen can testify to that. He knows about me sneaking in at night.
And he stayed awake one night.
That's right. Hoping to catch.
Pretended he was sleeping, but
that's right. Hoping to catch Santa's sack. That's my bag full of gifts. So, and that's our last stream. No. I
knew we'd canceled one day.
Exactly.
Thought it'd be stream 69 though, and not 68.
I know.
Off by one. Okay. We'll just hang out then and relax. So night falls, keeping an eye on the towers. As long, I imagine that the people who passed through probably did a similar thing to where I am. They didn't camp by the towers, right? Or like next to the towers, right? Because they seem.
Well, it's possible they saw it and were trying to make their way up there for really nice shelter.
Right.
They were just trying to pick their way out of this valley and trying to find a path over the mountains to the next valley.
I guess so, yeah.
There's a lot unknown there, right? Like how much do they know about the region?
Right.
To say, I know Balabri is near, and therefore we should go this direction as opposed to this direction. Right. Okay.
I'll wait, here for we'll say, now, as long as my patience will allow me, hopefully an hour or so for any kind of lights or activity to appear.
Right. So you just prop up and watch. Probably keep your hand on Nalkarth so you can see your local region very well. Because
Exactly.
the bow Nalkarth, for those of you who may forget, grants night vision when you're holding it. It also has the intelligence of some sort of great warrior named Nalkarth in it. You guys sort of chat, pass the time. You know.
Well, Nalani to hunt, obviously, too.
What?
I guess you would have done that earlier. So
What?
Nalani would have hunted earlier, right?
Right. Yeah. We can certainly wave our hands and say that's done. And hey, fish for her this time.
Sweet.
There was a time I went fishing with my brother who loved to fish, and we went off this bridge in this state park, and we were at the foot of the bridge, and we were casting and casting all day, casting and casting, and we just did not catch. I don't think we even had a nibble. And I know we'd been there for an hour and a half or something, and this falcon swooped down, plucked up a fish, landed on a stump, and ate it right in front of us. And we're like,
oh my gosh,
I know it's illegal to kill those things, but I'm about to commit a crime.
that's so funny. Yeah.
I mean, just immediately, it was in one of these, stumps in the water, and it just went bloop and got a decent sized fish and landed on that stump right by where it caught the fish and just started eating it. And we're just like,
That's
an
amazing.
hour and a half, and that wasn't even a minute and a half.
Crazy thing, just like as ingenious as we are, humans and stuff, we're still just like poorly adapted in some ways.
We're amateurs.
Only I could fly and see into the water.
Right.
It's quite an amazing skill.
Man, yeah. So yeah, roll for your patience there.
29.
Yeah, you're having a hard time staying focused. But then you see the flashing up on the mountainside.
Oh gosh, put some clothes on.
It's hilarious. I can see it's well pit.
It's the Dungar.
Hey, is it well endowed? So what you see is bright flashes sort of toward what you think would be the lower part of the tower, or ground level, roughly ground level. But you also see like a bright dome flash into existence and disappear right afterwards.
Where does the dome extend? Like over all the towers, or
it's hard to tell from here.
Yeah.
I believe it's time to teleport if you want more information.
It is time to teleport. So remember the spot that I memorized earlier and use my power points.
You do. Use your power points.
Boom. 100.
Wow. Roll again and add it.
Spectacular. Plus 12.
Wow. So 7 power points is all you spend. You cast it so well. 7 exhaustion points is all you lose.
Yay.
Roll to aim.
About time something goes right. 55.
Not bad. You're there. I'm not even going to make you make an orientation roll. You land. You scan the area quickly. You're fine. Let's talk about state of readiness. What do you want in your hands?
I would like my spear and shield in hand. I want to be on the defensive in case something surprises me.
All right, now let's talk about rate of movement.
Well, actually, hold on. I guess I want to have Nalkarth in hand instead.
Yes.
So in the dark, I can always drop him and pull out my spear if I need.
Yes.
So I guess Nalkarth and shield. Yeah, I can have shield on my arm and Nalkarth ready.
So. Okay. How fast do you want to go?
Slow, super sneaky.
Um,
And Nalkarth also helps with my stock hide.
yes. So, all right, give me, let's say 3 rolls to make it up there nice and quietly.
Roll number 1, 77.
Nice and quiet.
25.
Not great. You know you've hit some brush it and things like that, but you hope the wind of the mountain keeps that type of sound really indistinguishable from just wind passing through.
Okay. And then 33.
Again, not great. You come up the final leg of it. You can hear voices. It's a dialect of Elven that has got to be the same as that voice from the tower.
Okay.
So an older form of Elven, male. Shouting again, they're counting on us. Let nothing stop us. There's sounds of exertion, the sounds of armor moving. It's still very heavily wooded coming up this last thing. The flashes, though, are definitely lighting up the woods around you. The dome of light that flashes into existence definitely covers not just the towers, but a good ways beyond. You wouldn't be surprised if it covers some of the incline and reaches even perhaps beyond the stables.
Welcome, Diggs, by the way. 7, apparently. new
Hey, Diggs, welcome to the stream. Glad you could join us. I'm sorry to say this is a short one, but I hope you'll go back and watch some of the other ones.
Right at the best moment, though. We're about to find out.
We're about to have a big reveal here. We've been our brave Brise, female paladin, has heard tale that that this set of towers known as the Four Wells has seen activity at night, strange flashes, a family passing through the valley. This particular valley has seen strange things at night, and lo and behold, those strange things have happened.
So yeah, I just kind of listened to the voice for a while. So it was just kind of urging someone onward to do something. More.
A female voice now. We're giving it our all, my lord. We're giving it our all. We will not let them down this time. And just flash after flash after flash.
Some very gentle creeping toward the sound of the voices.
All right, let's get some sneak rolls going.
Creepy, sneaky sneaks. 91.
Oh, nice. You see from this point, still not close enough, but you figure there's a vantage from which you have to be able to see, you think. So one more roll if you want the deal. Again.
Let's try it. 78.
Nice and quiet. You come into view, and there, 5 skeletal paladins.
Ooh.
Shields, swords, armor, all wearing the symbols of Lewin. That is to say,
Right.
the local pantheon's god of hearth and home and children, and they are hacking away at an invisible barrier until they strike it, and then you see the dome flash into existence.
Whoa.
The female of them, her hair clinging to her, mostly to her skull. She is actually slamming into it with her shield over and over and over again. The final and tallest of them takes a heavy spear and is trying to force his way through the barrier.
Interesting.
At their feet, or off, I should say off to the side, lays a slain Dunger.
Oh my gosh. Doesn't know what they're doing. I guess they don't really make any progress, even if I wait for a little while.
They do not. But they urge each other on. There's some words you don't understand because of the years that lie between your version of Elven and theirs. But generally, it's cheering each other on. Oh, you know what? We should roll how you feel about these guys. Just your gut feel.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to say. I don't know. It's a 3.
Roll again and subtract it.
Okay, it's minus 58.
Okay. You are, I mean, everything you've heard your whole life is that the undead are unholy.
Right.
Um,
Even if they do wear Lewin's imagery.
But here, I mean, they glow with a light. I mean, you're very confused.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
How many are there again? So there's
3.
count just 3 of them. Okay. And they took down a Dungar. So. So I feel conflicted about it. If I'm thinking of the possibilities here, right? I would announce myself to them, but knowing they're undead, I'd feel like they'd probably attack, and then I'd be forced to battle them.
It's yeah, and if they took on the Dungar, I mean that's.
Yeah.
I mean, if it turns to battle, you've got to have a plan, even if it's to escape. And you certainly can't risk being seen until you've got that plan.
Yes.
And as you learned from the undead Philistine, some undead can have powers far exceeding a type of power, a type of ability they ever had. I mean, the Philistine shouldn't be able to fly, but the undead do fly.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of let's make a plan to escape quickly, and then I can confront them. At least to, they seem intelligent. They might listen to reason, even if they are evil beings, right? Like the Philistine, kind of similarly, I can still communicate. And
I mean, I guess you do have your spot still memorized for a teleport.
I do, yeah, just down the mountain there.
And that'll give you some lead time. But you're also really close to the towers, and there may be magic that interferes with any teleport.
Right.
So
see what potions I got just in case if I want to help me out.
Right.
Detecting major healing, shape-shifting.
Shapeshift into somebody they don't recognize.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh
Face
wait,
change. Like, haha, I'm now a goblin.
that's
Yeah, I
right.
didn't see that coming.
They won't attack you. Transform into a little girl, like a little girl. Hello. Of course, the undead won't care about that either. You're still getting,
Aww.
you know.
And do a little like undead girl, like a little
Ah,
skeleton.
there you go. Be an undead. Be an
Trick or
undead
treat.
crab. Be an undead crab.
There you go. All the skeletons. Ooh. Could if I could make myself invisible, I could speak to them, right? But like not be, seen. They wouldn't be able to find me.
Presumably, yes.
Right. Though I don't think I can make myself.
Yeah, that is not. When you said that, I was kind of surprised. I was like, I'm not sure what he's referring to.
I don't know why. For some reason, I thought I had like done something similar before, but
You did do intangibility.
Yes, that was very, very helpful. Well, I could cast some spells on myself to help me against the undead. That's for
You have
sure.
to do it quietly.
Quietly, so it might not be.
If you try a silent cast, that increases your fumble for spells.
We all know how much I love fumbling.
Yes, spell fumbles are very bad because magic is not to be dicked around with.
Presence, calm. Yeah, if it was just one guy, I could just go in there and do it.
Right, because you could handle the.
Right.
All right, then. What about anything that would even the odds?
Yeah. So my thought is, I do have like charm. If stuff started to go south, I could just do a really quick charm spell and try to at least, maybe halt one of them, get one of them confused. They seem to be a team, right? So they would kind of talk with each other.
Your understanding is that charm spells do not work on the undead.
Well, okay, never mind. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, then just a spell to boost my own ability. But when I talk with them, maybe allow me to get a quick escape.
So what are we thinking?
I forgot of here. Champion of the Spirit, possibly, which gives me a big advantage on against unholy creatures.
Okay.
So that'll last 1 minute a level from Way of the Spirit there. So was that 8 minutes then?
No, you're level 10.
I always forget which level I am. Yeah, 10 minutes. So
you've learned. Have you learned this one? You've learned this one, right? Yeah. So it's 10 minutes. That's many rounds.
That's pretty good. Yeah. So why don't we back away actually, so I don't have. I think it's easier to sneak away than it is to do and cast it than it is to do a silent cast, right?
Well, I mean, you won't have to do a silent cast. You can just be quiet. But
the other side of that coin is if I'm going to approach them diplomatically, right? Kind of want to walk into their view, right? Not
right.
Like I've been spying on them. So
right.
I think I'd like to back away.
Okay. Roll to sneak.
Sneak away. 15. Okay. There goes everything out the window.
They did not hear because of their blows, and the flashing actually makes a sound.
Yeah.
And so they did not hear. They rolled really crazy low. So you go a safe when you made away. You roll again to get a safe distance away, you think.
Okay, 67.
Decent. They did not hear. All right. Okay. Cast your spell. Level 8.
Level 9, actually.
Yeah. Level 9.
Champion of the Spirit, right? That's
sorry. Yeah. Level 9. You're right.
Making sure we got it. Okay. From my own PowerPoints, 89.
89. Let's say it cost you 8 power points and 8 exhaustion. You. All right. So we're going to start a ticker. You've basically got 60 rounds of this.
Okay.
So
every round counts. So I am just going to walk, clearly into view. Yeah, kind of trying to hail them from far away, like, excuse me.
All right.
Make myself known.
You walk out in view. They clearly heard you coming since and so the woman, the female elf, she is already positioned in front of her lord with shield and sword. The larger of the elves stands behind them. His spear is up in his arm, ready to throw. So
I'm gonna have my shield, and I guess Nalkarth I'll keep him, but off to the side.
there's enough. Yeah, well, there's enough light to see by just from there glowing.
Okay, then I can kind of set him down. Make a gesture of peace. Say, I mean you no harm.
They glance at each other. How do you come to this place? The leader asks in that strange older elven.
Okay. I forgot, how good is my elven?
It's a 7. So you
Okay.
speak like a local.
Speak like a local. I respond in my modern elven that I had heard reports of this place and went to investigate it to see if it was unholy. And I found that I think it is.
The guy in the back with the spear laughs. You can see right through his eyes to his back of his skull.
You might say it was a hollow laugh.
Oh my gosh. His jokes aren't corny, they're bony. The leader says, "What business is it of yours to have dealings with the unholy?"
I say, I'm a paladin like you all, I think, and seek hopefully the same thing you do, which is to determine what this place is and vanquish the evil here.
You do not know where you stand now?
I've heard it called the Four Wells, but not heard much else.
There's nothing well about this place. This is a place of treachery and evil. I've never thought about having NPC characters, particularly those who might be more benevolent, roll their gut reaction to you.
Yeah.
So I should start doing that. And so I have. He reaches to the elven woman's shield and lowers it. He lowers his own weapons. He looks at those two and says, "Continue the work." And they, move to speak against the idea. And he raises his gloved hand and points again to this barrier that doesn't exist. And they begin just, again, slamming themselves up against it. How are you called? He asks.
Call me Brise Ajal. I ask them, how long have you been trying to infiltrate this place?
This is our next to last night of our 120th attempt.
Okay.
1 week a year, on the anniversary that we were slain, by the necromancer Voshad. We rise again and attempt to break through the barrier and free our brothers enslaved in the three towers yonder.
Okay. Each year since I gotta get that right. So each year since they've been slain, they rise and
For 1 week,
right.
and then from dark.
I told you it's a tourist destination. It's 1 week out of the year. You come.
Hey, but it's a working vacation. You can tell. I mean, they've got
no rest for the
no rest for the almost wicked.
Have I heard of the Voshad? Voshad? Heard that name?
I love that you spelled it to me.
Oh no, I'm asking for confirmation from you if that's how.
It's
Reach would know the spelling as
Voshod.
Must be a girl then. Okay.
Yeah, it's always
that's how it works in your world. Every female name has 2 D's in it.
There was a reference in temple history that you read that mentioned a cleric by the name of Voshad, a female human out of I'm trying to blank on that city's name, out of Pleston, and she was banished, but that was it. And so you're like, well, you've not heard. Voshad is not a very common name, so it is near. You are near Pleston, not more than probably 2 or 3 days travel.
Yeah,
certainly one of the nearest large cities.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. I mean, just that she was banished. It didn't really mention anything about, dark questions or anything like that. It was a very brief mention. And, it just went on to other matters, larger matters, as far as you were concerned at the time.
Right. Okay.
So
I'll say this conversation could go on a little while. It sounds like. Do we want to maybe call it here and continue
and have
speaking with our captain of here?
Well, let's do just a few more details, and then we will wrap up. He tells you that 10 of his order were sent out to seek Voshad because there was word that another house was seeking to overthrow the king and was making deals with some dark entity to use black magic to seek the throne. That turned out to be the House Denver. 5 of his order discovered this place. 1 fled to bring the news to the others. The other 4 were slain and presumably captured.
Mm.
Well, they were definitely captured, but so then he and his men were sent to seek the place. They were able to break through. They slew all the men. They slew Voshad.
Mm.
But she had arts that used a golden yellow gas that was very poisonous, but not immediately so. And so they destroyed everything they could. They found 3 of their members risen from the grave and enslaved by Voshad's arts, stirring the great vats of blood in the towers above. They tried to free them. They tried to break the chains. Their brothers pleaded with them for release, but before they could do so, they felt the poison begin to take effect, and they didn't want to fall into the blood.
Right.
And so they fled down the hill, hoping to find something in their gear that might help. And they died down the hill a ways. And that is where they rise, once a year.
Mm.
And they labor from nightfall to dawn for that whole week, hammering away at the barrier that apparently was meant to screen out other undead.
Oh.
Which raises the question that they've never been able to answer, because it means that Voshad was afraid of another necromancer.
Right. Right.
And so who was that competitor? Because they too must be brought to justice.
Mm.
But now they are banned. Where they were, interestingly, were not banned when alive. Now they're banned while dead.
How ironic. Okay.
So Denver's part of the deal was to bring the unwanted, the unwary, and they were slain and drained of blood until he could fill all 3 vats.
Wow.
But Denver's house was raided by our order and the king's men.
Right.
And that house was destroyed.
Oh, wow. Okay. Whole house fell.
So the deal was never complete, nor was the purpose of the blood ever complete.
Mm.
But we seek a way in. And if you have the heart for it, you may join us. A band of undead brothers, says Obi-Wan. Oh, brother, is what I say. Oh, brother, where art your sense of humor?
Where art thou?
That's right. And I love that movie. That movie's amazing.
So good.
So there you go. I'll give you a few questions and we'll say goodbye to the folks. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, one question here. That mist, do you know the nature of how it enters the body? Is it breathe it in, I imagine, like a gas? I may have encountered it before.
How long ago?
Touched it earlier in the day, about mid-afternoon this day.
You would already have felt its effects.
Okay.
We inhaled it, we believe.
Mm. Just wake up the next morning and I'm like, look at my character sheet, all my stats are like decreased. Like, wait a second.
That's right. I'm going through tweaking stuff while you're asleep. What am I?
Last time I
installing
share
now?
any documents with Kevin.
That's right. That's right. Never again.
Okay. And the other thing, so we don't know the purpose of the towers. That's what he said, right? He wasn't sure about the. Well, I guess I asked him, do you know the purpose of the blood and the chains?
No, he didn't know. I mean,
Okay. He didn't explicitly say it, but he said its purpose was never completed. You know.
right. But yeah, they don't know. They never. Once the people were destroyed, right? There was also, he tells you, a great caged creature that was unleashed. This great undead creature that was in a cage, and you recall that cage in the first tower.
Yes, yeah.
And so that was unleashed upon them, and it cost lives, but they dealt with it.
Right.
And as far as they could tell, the chains attached to the hang from the rowboat and stir the vile contents all the way down.
Right.
But what anyone would need such hideous quantities of blood for, it's unfathomable.
Right.
And the poison overcame them before anything could be done.
I know there's a certain soup, I think Vietnamese or Thai, but it's made from like the blood of an ox. So maybe just really craved that.
Well, the British
necromancer soup.
Well, the British have black pudding, which is a blood pudding.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds worse than blood soup for some reason.
Yeah. Look up British black pudding.
British.
I mean, I guess if it's seasoned, it'd probably be okay. But it is, the thought of it is a little much. But
right.
Yeah.
It's like eating like a bloody steak. It sometimes is a little unnerving. When it's a little too raw. Yeah. Feel all the tendons. Well, anyway, I think that's good for now. We'll probably have to answer how Brise feels, right? Like, because I know she was like, well, these guys are unholy, but they're trying to do something that's good.
I think I think you are settled that they are noble. You're not feeling it's so strange to you. You feel like a little of the uncanny valley because you're talking to a skeleton,
right?
But you don't feel just that creepiness of you're not around a corpse. You're around a former person,
right? Confident.
So you're still a little unnerved by them, but you're not. But you trust them. You trust that they mean well, even if they can't help their own appearance,
right?
And so on. So, well, all right. Well, I guess we will leave it there until next week. I've already scheduled that one for us, and so oh man, I'm gonna put this bad boy up. Hang on,
big microphone right there.
I do have a big microphone right there. I got to take down that caption. That's always my problem. The caption stays up, and then our little pictures get covered over by the captions. But anyway, hey, thanks for joining us, guys. We always appreciate it. I hope you had a good time. This was a pretty interesting one, I hope. So you can always, if you like what we're doing, you can always hop to donorbox.org. /keep us streaming and send us a little financial love. We can always use that for upgrades in my poor neurological health. If you can't help but love Max's soothing voice, and I'm always a fan, then you've got a little link right there that you can hop to, where he discusses the role of video game music in video games. And video game original soundtracks. And so take a look at that. Thanks as always to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific art on Brise's character that we use every stream. Like and subscribe, and keep posting comments and things, and let us know what you think. And I've written a novel called A Shore Too Far that you can find on Amazon, and I'm pretty proud of it, and I hope you like it too. And we will be back 1 week from today I've already posted it up on the YouTube scheduler, and it's up on our website. We will see you next time. And thanks for everything, Max. Say goodbye to these lovely people.
I want to point out Obi-Wan Karen's wonderful comment here: the grateful undead,
Oh
or
my
maybe the
lord!
ungrateful undead.
Oh, there you go. The enraged undead, ungrateful. What?
Ungratefully.
The
Anyway,
unhappy.
definitely unhappy. I gotta say that. Yeah. Good night, everybody, and I'll see you 7 days from now, same time, same place.
That's right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.